Mr. What presents from the streets of San Francisco, LLANO River Blue.
Hi.
Who's a genderqueer artist, notorious at the Stud, among other destinations in the city, a creator, a musician, craftsperson, trying to put the word out through a Patreon campaign. If you want to tune in to all things LLANO, Patreon is the place to go.
Yeah.
Why don't we start with a little bit of a reel that you got going on here? Lots of numbers at the Stud.
I was fortunate to be a part of Meow Mix, which was Ferocia Titty's weekly drag show on Tuesday nights at the Stud for 6 years. And there was 1 year where I performed every week, like 2015 into 2016. And it was basically like performance school. And as it was such a welcoming environment there that it really allowed me to experiment. It's like a no-fail zone. And by expressing myself on stage through performance, I was able to explore my gender identity a little bit and kind of assume a more superhero version of myself, the genderqueer drag artist. And, you know, I started playing with makeup in my teens, but having drag and performing weekly was an opportunity to really get into it and see who I wanted to be, who I could be. So I don't just perform female drag. I've done some male drag and lots of genderfuck drag, going for more creaturely androgyny.
Right, and there's no better school than a drag performance. You have to basically be ready on time, transform quickly, have a kick-ass reveal. So it's an excellent theatrical school, if any. And you're bringing it into 24/7 life as
authentically as possible. And so I'm gonna keep doing my makeup while we go into this reel.
Excellent idea.
But you're stuck inside.
River Blue at the Stud. Meow Mix Tuesdays was a weekly show for a number of years, and this is where LLANO experimented with a number of drag personas.
Yeah, this show kind of became Love, which is now First Thursdays at the Stud. It's a lot of the same people. But Tuesday nights were a very special night. No one ends up at the Stud by accident on a Tuesday night at midnight.
Right, and the Stud was sort of in jeopardy at a certain time a few months ago. Jeopardy of being sold and transferred from the queer sphere of activity to a more generic, gentrified use. So a coalition of performers managed to, I believe, either hold it for a little longer or purchase it, or is definitely involved in trying to save its mission. So do you know a little bit more about where the state of stud affairs is at, and is anything different than past year in terms of programming?
Yeah, the shows are definitely different. There's not many weekly shows now. They've gone to monthlies, and a little bit of a different alcohol selection. But still queer, still there. And meanwhile, I've moved to Oakland, and that's a burgeoning drag scene.
'Cause I've been biting my tongue all week. Bro, I'm talking trash, but I never say anything. Well, I got a ride, it's hot, I drive it. So pay the gas, I got a 9 to 5.
So this is some of my boy drag. I was enjoying just being inhabiting that physicality. Like, it's just as much of an act as female drag, and being genderqueer, I find it fun to exaggerate all gendered behavior.
Right. That's at the center of your cultural exploration. Tell us a little bit more about that. Like, how do you live the fluidity? How do you select your look at any given night? Where do your choices originate besides the spontaneous desire to be yourself at all times?
Yeah, well, I'm a costumer, I'm a crafter, so I like just making things, and usually for drag, it would be very specific of this is a song, this is a concept, this is the look I need for that story that I want to tell. And it's just helped me to get more comfortable expressing myself more fabulously in any given day. And
Right.
I enjoy that.
And currently you are starting a new media campaign of sorts. You started a Patreon page.
Yeah.
Tell us more about what Patreon does for artists. I mean, not everybody may be aware of that
Sure.
new crowdfunding platform.
Exactly. So it's similar to something like Kickstarter and Indiegogo, which more people have heard of. But rather than being project-based, it's subscription-based. So you can choose to subscribe for $1 a month, $5 a month, $10 or $20. Those are my 4 tiers. And depending on how much you're giving me a month, it gives you a higher access to my art. So, you know, just $1 a month, I'm still going to be posting some photos and musings that you might not see on my Instagram or my YouTube, which is Yano River Blue, Instagram at Yano River Blue. And so then I will actually do some handmade gifts for you if you're subscribing at a higher level. And at $20 a month, I'm offering to do performances, private performances, streaming live.
Right. And that has been going on for a couple months. Where are you at with the campaign, and what are the first sort of vibes you're getting from that Patreon as a viable artistic option in changing San Francisco?
At the moment, I just have 5 subscribers. I've been up there maybe a month or so, so I'm trying to get better at promoting it. And I mean, I think crowdfunding is the future of art in general. I think the public is getting better at speaking and putting their money toward what they want to see. And for me, I want to see more stories about genderqueer people and showing more diversity of identity. And so in addition to making some blog videos where I just essay, like personal essay videos about my identity and my journey, I also am working on a narrative series, which I'm hoping Patreon can help raise money for. And so I've been making videos for a few years. I've actually got a pipe cleaner craft video on my YouTube channel. And so I might start with this little like pipe cleaner chenille stem, which is the what you buy pipe cleaners at. Craft store as.
Yeah, and chenille stems was for a time your drag name. That's how we initially interfaced, or when I saw you at the stud, that was what I remembered.
Yeah, for years I was chenille stems because I like the idea that pipe cleaners bend like you would bend gender, and lots of other
and very versatile creatures.
Yes, and I've done some costuming. I actually have a wig headpiece that's about 300 pipe cleaners and electroluminescent wire.
Right. Inexpensive, if
material,
any
for sure,
material.
So this is like the skeleton of what I might start with. And so I've been animating with these as part of this web series I'm developing. So this might be a stiffer armature wire to animate with.
Right. And you do like stop motion animation with these
Yeah, so I'm
creatures.
combining it with live action, and it's kind of this fantasy with alternate realities and dream sequences and things. And so this skeleton might develop into a wolf like this, and there's a whole little pack of wolves, and then I've also got
Yeah, very
a
cute.
sparkly one.
Very cute animals.
Yeah, and so the idea of these wolf packs kind of ties into queer people choosing their family. Like you might have the lone wolf that's going off to find its pack. And so I think it's a fun way to kind of package this narrative, and then I'm tying it in with some satire and
do
live
these
action.
creatures leave your home, like their gifts on Patreon, for instance?
Yeah, so
or tell me more about what happens to
Right.
them once you make them, because you probably turn them over like a maniac, them being your passion of sorts.
yeah, so this particular little wolf pack, these are actually actors in my animation. These do have the stiffer armature wire for animating with. But I've done a lot of pet portraits for people, and so if you are subscribing at $10 a month, then I will do a quarterly handmade gift, and it could be a perler bead nameplate like this one, or a pet portrait, or fantastical pipe cleaner creature. I'm great at making unicorns.
Yeah, because you have artistic skills. Did you pick him up on the way, or you also have seen you hanging out in artist collectives? Did you go to art school and all that stuff?
My mom's an expressive arts therapist. My father's a singer-songwriter, so it's just always been around me. I have some art schooling, but similar to my genderqueer identity, all of my drag and crafting is kind of just about embracing who I was as a little kid. Like, I always loved to play dress up and make things and tell stories, and so I'm just trying to be as true to that as possible, and
to share it to the world and
Yeah.
help liberate people's minds and
For sure.
cultures. Let's seek into your clip, one of your web series. This is
yeah, it's like the pilot episode. I made it a few years ago.
Hey, this is Chenille Stems. Do you ever have those dreams where everything's so vibrant and detailed that it almost feels like a hyper-reality? Like it may not follow the rules of logic or look like anywhere that you've been to in your waking life, but when you wake up, you get the sense that you're leaving somewhere that actually exists, like your dream world is a real world that you visit when you're asleep. I don't know if that makes sense. Lately I've been having a lot of those dreams. Only I wake up and it's like I'm grasping at the memories, and by the time I'm fully awake, I don't even remember it. Just this sense that I've been somewhere else. Luckily, I'm a genius. I've been developing a device. Something that I can wear while I sleep. I've wired it to record my dreams directly onto VHS tape. Let's take a look, shall we?
Do you do other animation of this kind, or is this like experimental one? And what do you have in mind for future film work inspired by this very successful first attempt?
Yeah, so I've been doing some animation with these wolves and other characters that I'm building, and so then I'm tying it in with live action, and I'm fortunate to live somewhere where I've got space to do all of that. I've got a little stop motion animation studio, and yeah, I'm building a whole story arc that'll probably be like 5 seasons, but season 1's going to be very low budget Simple.
And this is the sort of stuff that that Patreon campaign, those Patreon supporters will help you develop further and perfect.
Yeah, and additionally get us behind the scenes access that the general public won't see.
And you're also a musician, among
She does
other
it all,
things.
yes.
Your favorite instrument is ukulele?
It is.
And you have a
yes.
band called Sweet Trade.
Yes, the Sweet
So
Trade.
we'll watch a clip in a second. What's the story of Sweet Trade? Who's in it?
Right.
What's the chances to watch the band perform?
So my bandmate Sean Malroy and I formed the Sweet Trade, I think in like 2009. We've got 2 albums out, Pistols and Parasols and The Huntress and The Gardener. Both are available on iTunes and Spotify. Downloading my music is another way to support me. I've directed a bunch of music videos for us. This is from our latest album, The Huntress and the Gardener.
Well, I'm no stranger to the way that a hydrangea grows, and I love the foxglove, the daisy, and the rose, astromeria and marigold, and golden seal, valerian and lavender, and other herbs that heal. Arugula, asparagus, artichokes, heirloom tomatoes, and tubers are a favorite, carrots, turnips, beets, potatoes. Well, my thumb has always been a lovely shade of chartreuse, and I've never had a hobby have quite so much use as gardening. So stop your worrying, 'cause I've been gathering and I've been carrying a few of every seeds to grow the things we need. Plants of every creed, from vine to tree and even weed. Well, we've got to make things better, 'cause they never have been worse. So we'll plant ourselves a garden, even if it's small first, with care and cultivation, and time and sun and rain. One day we'll have an orchard and golden fields of grain. So let's work the earth before us, stick our fingers in the ground. I will teach you how to garden as we make a joyous sound. 'Cause my thumb's always been a lovely shade of chartreuse, and I've never had a talent have quite so much use as gardening. So stop your worrying, 'cause I've been gathering and I've been carrying a few of every seed to grow the things we need. Plants of every creed, from vine to tree and even weed.
Wonderful music by Yano, River Blue. And this will slowly get us to the end of the show. Yano, where can people watch you perform in the next coming weeks? Where have you been lately?
I actually just had the pleasure of being a part of the Body Political, which is a body positive, burlesque-centric variety show that's annual, produced by Leica Fox and Andy Stardust. Such a good opportunity for me to make my identity and my personal politics more a part of my art and present it in a context where that space was created for that. But I do bring that to my drag and my music as well. And
People can see you mostly at the Stud if they want to see you in the next month.
Yeah, often at the Stud. First Thursdays is Love. But the best way to keep up to date on what I'm performing is probably my Instagram at Yana River Blue.
Right, and here it is again, everyone. Patreon.com Yano, Instagram Yano River Blue to stay tuned to everything Yano creative. So be safe out there, everybody. Stay fluid. Keep on with the River Blue flow.
Yes.
And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thanks so much for
Be
coming
your
out.
truest self. Thank you.
My thumb's always been a glorious golden green. Now the garden is grown, you can see what I mean.